Welcome to this new episode of Trust is the New Ticker, an MCX podcast. Today we are discussing about the people, the machines, and the technology behind the exchange, how from the trade you go through the entire process and then how it is settled, and how you get your money or your delivery at the end of the cycle. So, as you know, we've been discussing with Sunil Batra, CTO MCX. Now we are also in midst of discussing with Anil Verma, who is the CTO of MCX Clearing Corporation, and then we'll go on to speak to Sougat Ghosh, who is the Chief Information Security Officer at MCX. Now I want to go in further into that. So let's delve more into this delivery aspect. Most people I have spoken to, laymen, think that if they buy, suppose, cotton, then a truck full of cotton will land up at their doorstep. And that's a misnomer, and I keep telling them that it's not like this. So, commodities are a unique blend of financialization and physicality. So, for example, if you remember in equities in the late 90s, till the late 90s, there were physical share certificates, which were then truncated and made into demat. However, with commodities, there's a unique blend of physicality and financialization because you cannot truncate the actual commodities. The actual commodity lies in the vault of the warehouse, and thereafter you have the warehouse receipt, which is a physical receipt, gets truncated and becomes a electronic warehouse receipt. So that is the difference. And when you take delivery of commodities or give delivery, you can transact in that electronic warehouse receipt, and thereafter, if you do want physical delivery, you can go to the warehouse, surrender your electronic warehouse receipt and collect your goods. So this is the entire process. But Anil, coming to you, is that MCX Clearing Corporation also has a unique software or a system which is called Commerce, wherein you maintain a repository of commodities. Like you would have a depository in equities, there would be another electronic balance maintained here through which people give and take deliveries. So I would like to understand that, your mechanisms, how you link it, and the tech resilience behind it.
Sure. To start with, just to add on the process you just talked about a delivery. So what happens that, let's say the cotton, okay, and so people basically the depositors. Basically, what they do is they go to one of our warehouse, which is exchange impaneled warehouse, deposit the material over there, okay, and in the system we have developed a centralized commodity information receipt system, which is called as a COMRIS, as you rightly mentioned. The warehouse is basically impaneled with the WSPs, which is a warehouse service providers. So they basically create those transactions into our system. So the deposit of good, along with quality checks created in the system, we call it as a warehouse receipt. These receipts basically members they use to pledge against the collaterals. Okay? So once they have a collateral, they are able to trade us towards our margin requirements. So this is the process how the Commerce manages the warehouse receipts in our system. Now, similarly happens the delivery part of it. Let's say a buyer, the depositor is a seller in this case. So if buyer, let's say through the exchange platform, let's say trades and gives a delivery intentions to take it. Okay, what happens that then there is a auto matching of the buyers to the sellers, where the seller has given an intention to take the delivery, and as a part of the settlement process, we basically let's say that the receipts which seller has placed to us is basically in a way allocated to the buyers. So buyers what does that takes this as a receipt and goes to the warehouse. Against the receipt, he takes the delivery out from there. This is what managed within the Commerce environment, and all end-to-end process, right from the deposit of the goods, pledge and repledge, then taking out the withdrawals by the buyers, all completely transparently managed in the system centrally, and so that there is complete transparency. The there are cases where there are additional functions like early pains are given by the sellers so towards a margin requirement, so they can able to use in their trading environments. So these are the various features in the Commerce system by which we able to provide. One area you talked about the resiliency into the system. So as in the beginning Sunil was mentioning about resiliency. So resiliency is by design in our trading or clearing infrastructure, which ensures the fail-safe systems, which means the systems are highly available, systems can able to recover if there is a problems with zero downtime. That's the objective we are working, and all our systems are designed towards that, which brings the a single second of brief moment of downtime in system actually breaks the trust of our customers. So the trust comes with the MCX trade with the trust, and the trust comes with the resiliency which we bring into our system. That's where we make sure that our systems are designed for the resiliency as very first design principle.
Thanks for that, Anil. So, viewers, please understand that when you trade with MCX, you trade with trust. Not only do you trade with trust, you settle your obligations, your pains, payouts, deliveries, money, everything. And Anil, do you have some numbers offhand as to how much collateral MCXCCL handles, or how much pain payouts you do on an average on a day?
These are the business numbers. So we are technology people. We don't want to talk about
just try. Okay, so great. Now you've understood how the front end works. You understood how delivery works. So, for example, if you want to buy gold on MCX, you buy the gold. It comes in demat form, stays in Commerce. You can keep it as long as you want to. And if you want to take it home, then you apply for taking it home. You take the delivery out of the vault and you can bring it home. Even you can get the doorstep delivery. If you want to sell it back, you can sell it back on the exchange. And if you want to pledge it against margin facilities for further trades, you can do that as well. So it is a very financialized product, while at the same time maintaining the sanctity of physicality.
So Rishi, just to tell you, maybe you can help to the audience also that M6 provides gold deliveries. Not only jewelers people go and take it gold, but you can very well do a hedge or do a future. Let's say the prices of gold is the way rising. Okay, you can buy today, and M6 does a future based contracts basically, even a gold. Okay, so it's monthly expiry. So the people basically who wants to buy the gold in advance, let's say Diwali, people Akshaya Tritiya, if they want to buy the gold, they can trade today and take delivery on Akshaya Tritiya, right?
Yes, perfect. So that's what our derivatives, futures and options exchange provides you. And futures give you not only future date of delivery, but options give you the choice of taking delivery if you make a profit, and not taking it if you don't make a profit, if you bought those options, call options. So now moving on to Sougat, and he's the guy who keeps us safe from all the attacks and all the cyber criminals of this world. And as things are getting financialized, as we are moving more and more into the digital age, we are seeing that scams are moving online from offline. And we hear about so many digital scams. But what is most worrying today is that large enterprises, especially market infrastructure institutions of national importance like exchanges like MCX, are constantly under threat of attacks from such people. So Sougat, tell me, how do you hold fort and how do you prevent anyone from entering this fort?
Sure. Thanks, Rishi. So, we call ourselves as the police of the company. It's good to be not in news. Generally, we call out that you have to be in news. But we say if you're not in news, it's a good thing to happen. Recent attacks, we've seen a lot of them, including the last one at the airports. We've seen places where we always thought some of the larger vendors are secure. But that's not true. The world is changing. If you see today, from a physical warfare, it is cyber warfare. You'll see some countries who are known to have attack vectors, they change it. You've seen some of the spy attacks between countries. With that in mind, I think there's a lot of attack vectors that we see on the surface. If I have to just give you some numbers, we see a few 100,000 records which are threats which are coming every day. And what's important is not just to have these attacks stopped at the entry point, which is our perimeter, but it's also important that the performance of our systems don't downgrade. So it's a trade-off between how much performance do you need and how much security do you need. From a design principle perspective, we put in security by design, which means there's a lot of defense in depth at every stage. There are a lot of controls. We run over 25, 30 tools, and it looks like a lot of people that you need. But the truth is that until you imbibe all the technologies that you have, whether it's AI, whether it's ML, whether it's a lot of people and intelligence into it, you'll not succeed. There's no single answer to your question, maybe. But the truth is, every day, everybody's on their toes, trying to find a problem. I call it find a grave to close a grave to make sure that that grave doesn't rise again. So that's how we continue in our journey. It's an ever-changing world. Trust me, you'll see a different attack every time. The end cyber scammers and cyber attackers are becoming way intelligent than us. And we just got to catch up to make sure that we're safe. From a country standpoint, if you see, obviously we're the largest commodity exchange in India. And the name counts because we are all talking about trust.
I'll just interrupt you there. We're not only the largest commodity exchange in India, we're the largest commodity options exchange in the world.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. And if you just look at it objectively, all mixed up, you just don't want to be in news. You just want to be off news, and you just want to work in silence. And that's my job to be.
Okay, so giving the example of that fort I spoke about earlier, his job is that no one gets woken up, and that is why he's created a moat. He's put alligators into it. He's got the walls high, covered with boiling oil and fiery arrows, right?
We try to.
Wonderful. So, Sougat, but again, taking that example, the chain is as strong as its weakest link. Similarly, a fort is as strong as its weakest wall, right?
Yes.
We have a exchange ecosystem. So not only do you have to look at the cyber security of the exchange, but you're also vulnerable because if any of the people, all the brokers and all the exchange ecosystem stakeholders connecting to the exchange in any way, who are whitelisted to connect to the exchange, if they face any attack, then you are also left vulnerable to that. So apart from the exchange, how do you ensure that your ecosystem is also adequately covered? One, in terms of action, and two, in terms of awareness. How do you spread that in the market? How do you spread that not only among the ecosystem participants, but also of the lay investor? Because end of the day, we are all connected. So if one person gets affected, everyone could get affected. And while you have firewalls, etc., but they are of limited purpose. So please explain as to how you protect the entire universe of the exchange ecosystem.
So if I look at the ecosystem, we have a lot of people connecting to us, which means, for example, we give feeds to us to some set of feed providers. We have members who we connect to, and we've of course an internal set of people who connect into us. So it's important that you look at every perimeter. So one is the technology control. So we've got a lot of technology controls across the ecosystem. But what's more important is that our member community, which to me is like a family to us at the end of the day, right? If they're impacted, there's always a likelihood that it could get to us, right? We do trainings, we do awareness, we do detailed trainings, we meet them. Because every size of member is different. Every investment of a member is different. And hence we have to understand what is that we can do minimum baselining across each of these members to keep them safe. Obviously, a larger member will put in more amounts of guns and whistles and bells, all of the moat and the alligators that you spoke about. But some of the smaller members will still have to do what we call as a basic hygiene. this basic hygiene of keeping some of these requirements that the exchange has. So we issue circulars, but circulars are just circulars, right? As an exchange is a quasi-regulator. But what we also do is we also talk to them. Because when you talk to people, you actually know where we are and where we want to meet. These are some of them are informal, some of them are formal discussions that we have. And that obviously brings and changes the ecosystem.
Great. So, like you said, the entire ecosystem is like a family, and if one person catches a cold, others could contract it too. So it's better to take that flu shot, right? We come to the end of this podcast, viewers, and I would like to end by saying that it has been a pleasure talking to you, communicating with you, bringing this facet of the exchange which you seldom get to see. And this is why MCX is and continues to be, and hopefully will continue to be for a long time to come, the exchange of choice, number one commodity exchange in India. And we're, like I said, we're already number one commodity options exchange in the world. Hopefully that day won't be far when MCX will be number one commodity exchange overall in the world and will be the backbone for driving India's economic growth by providing proper price discovery, adequate price risk management, and helping India to be a price setter and a global benchmark for pricing and trading across the world. Thank you so much.